This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks take on the Atlanta Hawks tonight in Atlanta. And this is going to be a very interesting game. No Kemba Walker, no Derrick Rose. Who do we expect to start tonight, ladies and gentlemen? I think it's going to be Emmanuel Quickley. Makes the most sense since you're going up against Trae Young. But this is a big one for the New York Knicks. This is game number 20. Game number 20, ladies and gentlemen. The entire offseason, the Knicks prepared to put together a team that could elevate us to be at least as good as the Atlanta Hawks and hopefully better because of everything that happened during the playoffs. The Knicks wanted to construct a team that could defeat the Atlanta Hawks. And then, of course, you take the next steps. If you can beat the Hawks or do better than the Hawks in the playoffs, then you can take the next step and try to construct your team to, be Eastern Conference finalists. So far, the Knicks haven't looked good. They've been up and down, shaky. Although they have a better record now than they did last season at this time, they've still been kind of shaky. So I think this is going to be, this is that evaluation period. Maybe the deadline of, I don't know, this is the evaluation time. 20 games. Now we start to say, this is the Knicks. This is our team. Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, World Wide West, they can look and say, did we get better? And what do we need to do to get better? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Day pregame show. And before you place any bets tonight, make sure you go on over to thegameday.com and check out all of the most up-to-date sports content and betting odds so you can make an informed decision about how you plan to bet this evening. Let's take a look inside this game. Of course, we're going to start off with Emmanuel Quickley and whether or not he should be the starting guard and what that might mean for him and the New York Knicks. Yeah, let's get it. I got my man Nate the Great in the building. And I'm sure he's glad that I called him Nate the Great instead of No Take Nate. You tell me, which one do you guys like better? You guys like Nate the Great or do you like No Take Nate? Tell me which one you guys like better. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Nate, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
How you doing, brother? Happy post-Thanksgiving. Hope you had a good one with your family. Yeah, man. Thanksgiving was a little rough yesterday. Well, actually, it wasn't yesterday. I'm sorry. Friday was a little bit rough watching that Knicks game. So, it kind of didn't settle well in the stomach. But hopefully we'll get back to normal with the Hawks. It's going to be a tough one, man. It's going to a lot of bad blood between those two teams. So I'm looking forward to a dogfight tonight.
Yeah, not to mention the Hawks are on a 7-game winning streak. The Phoenix Suns came into the Garden last night on a 14-game winning streak, and now we play the Atlanta Hawks, who are on a 7-game win streak. No Derrick Rose, no Kemba Walker. Okay? This could be a blessing in disguise. I don't want to say a blessing it could be a blessing in disguise for the Knicks, and it could definitely be a blessing for Emmanuel Quickley. I think Emmanuel Quickley should get the start tonight. He matches up well with Trae Young. Not to say that he's going to shut him down, but he matches up well with Trae Young, size-wise, right? And I believe that he can put a little bit more pressure on Trae Young and make Trae Young have to play defense, which that's one of my keys to the game. Make Trae Young play defense. Emmanuel Quickley could do that, I believe. What do you think about it, Nate?
I agree. He's the one point guard on our team that can get his own shot and can get into the cup. Something that Kemba Walker couldn't do when he's playing. So I think that the key is to make Trae Young play defense, to wear him out. You know, he's a small guy, so hopefully Emmanuel Quickley can be a little physical with him and definitely make him work for a shot, just like he'll make Trae Young work on the defensive side. So I do like the matchup. I just don't want it to be a one-on-one situation where Quickley tries to take Trae Young the whole game. I want to see him get everybody involved, play consistent defense. You know, look to take a shot when he can, but also to try to find the open players. You know, try to get these other players going because this team is so inconsistent right now when it comes to who can make baskets, who can't make baskets. We need to try to get on the same page in some way.
No, I hear you. And listen, I think that Emmanuel Quickley can kind of give Trae Young a taste of his own medicine, should we say. You know, just in the style of play and some of the things that he does is going to be similar to what Trae Young does. You know, obviously that whole foul call thing, the referees are not calling that play, so it doesn't benefit Emmanuel Quickley. It doesn't benefit Trae Young. But just the way that they play, you know, the ability, Trae Young has the ability to score in a multitude of ways. He can knock down the deep three. He can hit that floater in the lane. He can pull up in the lane, right? But he can create for other people off of that pick and roll. So he's really, really dangerous. We said last night or the other day in the game preview that Chris Paul was a maestro out of that screen and roll. This guy is also a maestro out of the screen and roll. There's a lot that Emmanuel Quickley can learn from Trae Young as far as being able to operate out of the screen and roll. But I think he can put pressure on Trae Young because Emmanuel Quickley can knock down the long three. He can hit that floater in the lane. He's starting to develop a pull-up. All right? He's not the maestro as far as creating for others off that screen and roll that Trae Young is. You know, but he can hit the floater. He can score in a multitude of ways. I think that puts a little bit of pressure on Trae Young to play defense. And Trae Young's not a great defender. So I think this is a good matchup. A good matchup. The question is what happens in that second unit, right? Derrick Rose is not there. Emmanuel Quickley, I'm assuming it's going to be Emmanuel Quickley that's elevated to the starting lineup. What happens in the second unit? Who gets burned? Quentin Grimes, he was probably slated to get some burn because Derrick Rose is out. So now where do we go in that second unit? Is it Miles McBride? You seen Kevin Knox last night, got some early playing time in the fourth quarter. Does he go a different direction and put Kevin Knox out there? We'll see. That's something we're going to talk about throughout today. Before I do that, let me get Mark in the building. You know, I know he's, itching to get in. You know what I mean? As long as you stay in front of the camera, Mark, we're not talking to your forehead or the bridge of your nose or something like that. Stay in the camera and it's all good. You know, because sometimes you got us talking to, wherever. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's get to the injury report. Then we're going to really dig into it. I want to get Mark's thoughts on Emmanuel Quickley and Trae Young. All right, so the injury report, looking at it for the New York Knicks, Nerlens Noel, he's day-to-day. Right, he's now listed as questionable for tonight's matchup versus the Hawks due to right knee soreness. Taj Gibson, he's out. Derrick Rose, he's out. And Kemba Walker is out, likely due to rest. Okay, so you have... I think Nerlens Noel's probably going to play. I think he's listed as questionable. We'll see. Obviously, you have your starting point guard and Kemba Walker out. You have your backup guard and Derrick Rose out. Two guys who are supposed to be important for this team out. Taj Gibson, he's been out for a little while, but, we got some important guys out heading into what I think is a big matchup for the New York Knicks. A big game for the Knicks. For the Atlanta Hawks, ladies and gentlemen, Cam Reddish, he's day-to-day. Bogdanovich is day-to-day. He's questionable for tonight's game with hamstring soreness. Okongwu, he's out. DeAndre Hunter, he's out. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I thought when I put together the starting lineups that Bogdanovich would be playing, so you're going to see him in the starting lineup. Then I get this late report about, that he's questionable. But I have Emmanuel Quickley and Trae Young, Evan Fournier, and Bogdanovich at the shooting guard spots. For the Knicks, you got R.J. Barrett. For the Hawks, you got Kevin Huerter at the small forward spots. For the Knicks, Julius Randle at power forward. And for the Hawks, John Collins at power forward. And for the New York Knicks, you got Mitchell Robinson at center. And for the Hawks, you got Clint Capela at the center spot. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And to me, that looks like the defensive matchups as well. So let's go back and talk about this Quickley and Trae Young matchup. Mark, what do you think, man? Is Emmanuel Quickley going to get the start for the Knicks? Do you think he will? Or do you think Tom Thibodeau throws a curveball and goes with Alec Burks? Which would be silly to me because you have nobody to match up with Trae Young. If he goes with Burks, that's a bad move.
Why would you even think about going Burks? He's not like no.
The reason why is because last season when the Knicks were down a starting point guard, he went with Burks.
And you know what's so funny? He might end up doing that. Like, he really might end up doing that because knowing him, he's just going to go with what he feels like who he could trust. Not saying that he don't trust Quickley, but I think he likes what the second unit brings with that. But me personally, I wouldn't want to see that because it's just, no. Like,
I'm just asking the question. You would think it's going to be Emmanuel Quickley, but last year, obviously he didn't know and maybe not trust Emmanuel Quickley enough. But last year, when Elfrid Payton was out, Derrick Rose was out, he went with Alec Burks.
And that's why he might end up doing that. So it's a 50-50 thing. I'm kind of 50-50 about it. Because I'm going to tell you, Sam, for us to win tonight, we're going to have to stop this snake in the head. So we're going to have to put ball pressure on Trae Young, man. Because if we allow this team to run pick and roll with us, good night. Good night. So personally, I would like to have Quickley on Trae Young because he's more wiry. He's more wiry. His arms are more longer, and he put pressure onto Trae Young. I just think we need to pressure Trae Young more than anything.
Yeah.
So it's a 50-50 thing between Burke and Quickley.
I mean, I think it should be Quickley 100%.
It should be Quickley.
It should be Quickley 100%. That's why I have him projected in my starting lineup. I just can't see where you would put out. If you start Alec Burks, who guards Trae Young? And whoever guards Trae Young is going to get eaten alive.
It's not even.
It's going to be too small.
Scoring. It's just about him getting into the paint and playmaking, and just like we're not good at guarding the perimeter already. So it's a double-edged sword. So like, if Tibbs go with Burks, I'm gonna be highly disappointed. And it's gonna really, really, really rub. It's not gonna make me enjoy the game. It's just not, because part of me know he's gonna do something like that, but I'm hoping that he just go with Quickley and just understand, give the boy his opportunity.
Okay.
I think it will be Quickley because he has started some games last year for us, so it's not like Tibbs has not believed in him. So. And he's probably the only true point guard we have outside of the guys that are out right now. I mean, we haven't seen Miles yet, so we don't know for sure. But the only way I could see that Quickley could stay on the bench is only because of the chemistry that he has on the second unit. And Tibbs might want that juice in the second unit to where he could start Burks, but that would shock me. I really do think, since Quickley has started already in games, I think it should be Quickley, and it will be Quickley. But with Tibbs, you just never know. He likes the vets. He likes to to go with the older guys, and I think he wants to keep that cohesion with the second unit with Quickley. So that's the only way I see it happening.
Yeah.
Tim, what minutes did Kemba play for him to rest?
He's resting for another reason.
I mean, you said what, man? He's been playing 20. It's a back-to-back. I don't know. You know, I don't know.
Did he sit out the last back-to-back, Sim?
Yo,
Not the last back-to-back. Hold up. One at a time. Not the last back-to-back, but the one before that, he rested.
Okay.
I mean, I could understand if he was putting pain on the court, then you'd be like, yo, you could rest, but, you know, where has he been? But it's all right.
So let me ask you. Go ahead, Nate. You said you think he's being arrested for other reasons. State your case.
I think. Okay, so we're at 20 games right now. So this is a good evaluation period where this team is at. This team is playing 500 ball right now. I truly believe that I think Tibbs wants to see Quickley against a premier superstar type of guard, and more so for his defense. I think he wants to see if he was going to start Quickley going forward to get more juice in that offensive starting lineup and put Kemba on the bench. I think he wants to see it from the defensive standpoint. And this is a great barometer tonight. If he can hold Young in check, now he's not going to be able to stop him, but if he can hold him in check and make it uncomfortable for him, Tibbs might have something where he'd be like, you know what? Let's give the young guy a shot, you know, and maybe Kemba needs to go to the bench, and I think Kemba would be okay with that. I mean, where he's at in his career, he can't be upset. I mean, he is what he is. And this team is, like I said, is playing 500 balls, so a move like that to me wouldn't be too substantial as far as like the roles changing for the players. And, you know, Quickley would thrive in that kind of situation. He would love to be the starting point guard for this team. And he's showing the confidence, he's showing the shot, he's showing the aggressiveness. And Tibbs needs that in that starting lineup.
And his defense is picking up as well.
And his defense picking up, yes,
Let me get to his phone call, and then Mark, I want to come to you with the same question. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from.
What's up, man? This is Jacob calling from Tallahassee, Florida. Big fan of the show. Salute to everybody in the chat. I just want to go over this Emmanuel Quickley and Trae Young matchup.
All right.
During the playoffs, I saw a big problem with the whistles when it came to like players like Reggie Bullock bigger players guarding Trae Young, because, you know, you tap Trae Young with a bigger player and Trae Young topples over and he knows how to sell and get that foul call. So not only do I believe that Emmanuel Quickley could keep up with Trae Young the best laterally, it also plays in favor in officiating because it's two smaller guards. I feel like Emmanuel Quickley will be able to play with a little bit more hands, you know, trying to kind of touch up Trae Young a little bit more than a bigger player. So I'm looking forward to the matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% with everything that you just said. I think you're on point 100%. 100%. You know, which to me, that's the reason why I don't see any other way to go but to start Emmanuel Quickley on Trae Young.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see any other way to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I can't. You know, I'm always hyped to play this game, and actually, I'm flying up Christmas Day on Christmas Day to go see this team and play the Hawks. So, man, looking forward to it, man. Salute.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you. Appreciate your input, my friend. Appreciate your call, and you know, join us tonight. Join us tonight on the post game show. Later. Appreciate it. Yeah,
the Knicks fans. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, people move from New York to everywhere. Mark,
That's true.
Mark, your thoughts.
On Trae Young on Quickley on Trae Young?
On whether or not Tom Thibodeau and the coaching staff is looking at this as an opportunity to get a better look at Emmanuel Quickley against a guard like Trae Young, and whether or not he could one day be the starting point guard for this team.
I'm gonna say this: I do want to see him when he has more responsibility. See if because again, we only seen him in spurts and bursts. So, you know, not a lot of guards like him, how he plays, especially a young guy like that, would be good in like a full 30 plus minute game. You know, handling the ball like that. So we only got sample size. I want to see it to see how he fare. like how efficient he could be, what his true shot selection will look like in a 30-minute plus game.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
what I want to see, and I want to see more of his. He would make more better decision making.
Yeah,
Because the more minutes comes with a guard like that, you will see how really good he is.
Yeah.
Compared to him coming off the bench and having limited minutes.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. What's his shot selection look like in the 30-minute, getting 30 minutes on the court?
Well, I could see him taking at least. I could see him taking at least 12 to 15, depending on how the game is going and how hot he gets. Because when he comes off the bench, he takes at least a good 6 to 7 when he plays in each game. I know he attempt more than 5 shots a game. So I could add on another 5, and it depends. I could add on 10 tonight if it goes the right way. But other than that, I just want to see him in a 30+ minute game, how he would hold up and fare up, how smart he is guarding Trae Young. Because you got to be very crafty to guard Trae Young.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Mark. How do you think the bench works? Is McBride going to step in? McBride's going to step in and play that point guard spot? Or do you think Kevin Knox gets some burn off the bench and he lets Alec Burks play that point guard spot in that second unit?
I could see that happen with Burks coming off the bench as the first guard, handling the ball. Because when he comes on the floor, Burks is handling the ball because most of the time when he get inserted, him and Quickley go back at it. So it's just like you have 2 combo guards. No one's really a true point guard. So it's just like you can see Burks come out, handling the ball from time to time and stuff like that. But you know what I would say? I would say it would be a crime if he just don't give McBride minutes. Because there was a play last night that I see how he guarded Devin Booker and how he slowed up Devin Booker. In that frame that he had guarding Devin Booker, I just think it's a crime that he don't give him minutes tonight. This is the perfect opportunity to give that kid a little burn. Yes, it is, because when you look at our team, we're injured. I don't believe we're playing 500 basketball. Our record might say that, but we're not.
Well, we're not because we started the season 5-1.
Yeah. So we're not playing 500 basketball. I don't know where people get that from. We're playing bad basketball at this point. I don't even want to get on it. But this is the perfect time to see what we got in a guard that can at least defend on the perimeter. We cannot guard the perimeter, Sim. We have to stop the guard from driving and penetrating. Last night was a joke. I can at least defend on the perimeter. I couldn't. I watched your show today, and the way you looked defeated, that's how it was last time.
Well, it was. It was tough. It was tough, man. Let me get to this phone call here. Get my man to turn it down in the back. Caller, you live. Do me a favor. Turn it down in the back, please, because we can hear the echo coming through. And then tell me your name and where you're from.
Hey, this is Roger Machad. I'm here in Florida, down in Lake Park, Florida, just around West Palm.
What's going on with you, man? How you doing, Raj?
I'm good. I'm a first-time caller. I listen to you guys' show a lot. Love you guys, what you do.
Appreciate you.
Actually, I was going back in on the subject of you guys trying to figure out who the starter would be. And as far as the point guard position is concerned, I agree with you. I think Emmanuel Quickley would be the right fit to go up against Trae Young. But my thoughts are if they go ahead and do that with IQ, who would take his spot on the second unit?
Yeah, that's what.
And I think McBride would be the fit as far as defensive is concerned. But I almost would see Burks handling the ball and them letting a small forward. I went blank there for a minute. Sorry about that.
Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox, correct, as the 3 going into the second unit. I just want to see what your thoughts are on that, and go from there. Thanks for letting me talk, and looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say.
Appreciate you, Roger.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, we were just talking about that. I think there is a chance that Kevin Knox plays and Alec Burks becomes that backup guard, point guard off the bench. It can go either way. I guess it's going to come down to matchups and what the matchups look like on the bench. I think it comes down to that.
Sim, you know what I was thinking? So this is how I would coach it. Since RJ hasn't been in the rhythm for the last 10 games, if you'd have seen no numbers that I've seen this morning from the last 10 games of RJ, oh my God.
Don't do it. Go ahead.
What I would do is have him play 6 minutes in the first quarter and have him come off and have him run the bench unit.
Okay. I thought you was about to say something different. I was about to say don't do it, but okay, all right.
No, that's what I would do because again, I think him running with those young guys with pace, he has a little, passing ability with his game. I think we need to give him that type of burn so he could find his way again because boy, oh boy.
So are you cutting the rotation down to 7? Just Alec Burks? Because just Alec Burks and Obi Toppin off the bench? Are you cutting that down to 7?
I don't know what is this not the playoffs.
No, 8. I guess it would be 8 because Quentin Grimes. So
this is where Knox should play tonight too. When you think about it too, for just another threat shooting and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's going to happen. But I'm saying if I was coaching, I would take RJ out early, about the 6-minute mark in the first quarter, and I probably would insert Knox at the forward, and then when the second quarter come back, I put RJ in, and then he runs that second unit because we have to give this kid rhythm. Without rhythm, he's not good.
Right.
He's not good.
Because from according to Tommy Beer, Nerlens Noel is also going to be out.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So I was gonna say if Noel is out, I could actually see a situation where Grimes and Knox are gonna play pretty good minutes because
McBride as well.
You're gonna put Obi at the 5, put Knox at the 4,
right,
and then Grimes at 3, and then probably Burks and maybe McBride.
Right. Yeah. So you could have McBride. Yeah, that could be the second unit. Unless he's gonna put Wayne Selden in the game.
Or is what's his face still in the
I see Mark Turner's face. I don't know if you was disgusted or you just had to look at something over there when I said Wayne Selden.
Is Jericho?
Honestly, I'm still hurt.
Jericho
from
Sims,
last night.
Jericho Sims.
Yeah.
I forgot about Jericho Sims.
In all honesty, I'm feeling how I felt last night. Like I'm just not like this when I'm watching this team. I'm not happy. It's just like I don't know with this team. I don't know. We got a different leading scorer every night. It's no consistency with this team. It's hard to really feel positive about this team, and then this team right now with all these injuries is looking like the year after 2013. That now all the old guys starting to break down.
Right. No, I hear you. Looking at the Hawks bench. You got Danilo Gallinari.
Yeah, he's solid.
Cam Reddish, who is day-to-day. You got Lou Williams coming off the bench. So you need somebody that can match up with Lou Williams. McBride has to play, I think.
Yeah, he has to play, man.
Right, you got Dang out there, Gorgie Dang.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the bench to kind of survey their bench and see, all right, would you play Jericho Sims or would you play Kevin Knox? Based on their bench. Gorgie Dang, I don't think he's that tall.
But he's
6'10". He's 6'10". So maybe
I play Jericho.
Yeah, you probably play Jericho to match up with Gorgie Dang.
He's gonna need some run tonight.
Probably play Jericho instead of Kevin Knox to match up with Gorgie Dang.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what Tom Thibodeau decides to do.
And Tim, another thing with this team, like even when you do matchups and stuff like that, sometimes like when you're watching our offense, we never take advantage of mismatches.
Yeah.
Never. And you know what I would do tonight? I would constantly put Trae Young into a pick and roll every time.
Well, I mean, let's see. I mean, yeah,
if you
you
look-
want to put pressure on Trae Young. Let's look at the team comparison. The Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. For us to have put so much effort into making our offense better, we're just not that much better. Right?
Exactly.
We're just not that much better. We're averaging 106.7 points per game. The Hawks are averaging 111.4. The Suns came into the game last night averaging 112. The Hawks are around that same area.
And
High
they're not a
scoring
good
team.
three-point shooting team, the Suns.
All right. The Knicks average 46 rebounds. The Hawks 46 rebounds. 21 assists for the Knicks, 24 for the Hawks. Both teams around 7 steals. 6 blocks for the Knicks, 4 for the Hawks. The Knicks average 13 turnovers. The Hawks average about 12. The Knicks only shoot 44% from the field. The Hawks are shooting 47% from the field. The Knicks shoot 36.5% from 3, and the Hawks are shooting 37.6% from 3. The Knicks, 76.5% from the free throw line. The Hawks at 80% from the free throw line. The Knicks average 42.3 points in the paint. The Hawks, 47. 14 second chance points for the Knicks, 12.2 for the Atlanta Hawks. I'm gonna talk a little bit about those second chance points too, on how that can be deceiving.
Very deceiving.
Yeah, fast break points for the Knicks are at 11.3, and for the Hawks at 9.1. The reason why those second chance points can be deceiving is because a team like last night, the Knicks had 20 whatever second chance points, and the Phoenix Suns only had 4. But that's because the Phoenix Suns were knocking down shots. They made 55% of their shots last night. So there's not going to be that many offensive rebounds to go around, which means your second chance points is going to be limited. For the Knicks, they were shooting terribly. So there was tons of offensive rebounds to go around.
Long shots.
Right? And, they got some putbacks. So second chance points doesn't necessarily mean you're doing the right thing. It could also mean that you're just missing shots and you're not shooting well from the field. And you need those second chance points to score.
Don't usually teams that shoot bad usually are pretty high in offensive rebounds because they do have to recover a lot of their shots.
Yeah.
I say one thing, we just work so hard on offense. It's just like, I don't know what to call it, man. I like. And Sim, remember how we talked about the first 20 games and look where we're at. The best 500. This is us.
So I said we're playing 500 ball, but you said
well, we're not really playing 500 ball because we started off the season 5-1, right? So we started off the season with a 4-game cushion. Mm-hmm. So we've been playing 4 games below 500 since then, or 3 games below 500 since then.
What I'm saying is we are what our record is right now. We're an average team right now that is going to vie for the, possibly the play-in right now. Let's just be real. I mean, this team needs to either get a major adjustment in talent, or I don't know what it is. I don't think it's anything that we can do.
You know what it is? They don't play with consistent energy. It's just like the first quarter will look so great, and then the second quarter will come. It's just we do not play.
We don't have consistent players. Period.
We don't play with no intensity. We just don't. And you could just look at the players sometime. When you watch Phoenix last night, they was cutting hard. They was moving hard. Just everything they was just doing was just like the Knicks didn't give no resistance last night. That's why Phoenix scored the way they scored. 55%.
Well, I mean, that game is, let's just focus on this game because it's a new game. Hopefully we learned something from that game. You know what I mean?
Well, Mark's got a point. Tonight is more about tonight's more about pride for the Knicks. The Knicks need to come out and play hard, especially when they were doing a lot of chirping about, we can't wait to play Atlanta again, and they were chirping back to us. This is going to be a game where I want them to take some pride in their game and go out and fight hard. Now, if we lose close, we lose close. But I don't want us to get blown out, because then that's gonna be a bad sign for me, because I want the team to take pride in going out and playing hard. And they play well on the road, so That's a good sign.
Yeah, we'll see. I have some other things I want to talk about, though, as far as this team and some things going on internally that could be affecting their play on the court. But let's talk about these key matchups first. Because one of my biggest key matchup for the night is Emmanuel Quickley and Trae Young. Yes, I do believe Emmanuel Quickley is going to be the starter with Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker both being out. I think it's going to be Emmanuel Quickley and Trae Young. All right, that's my key matchup. That is key to me because I think Emmanuel Quickley can make Trae Young have to play some defense.
Yes.
And I think he's not going to shut him down, but he has the ability to make it tough on Trae Young.
Yeah, just pressure the ball.
You know?
Like when you pressure him, like it you can take the ball out of his hands because he's a guy that needs the ball to be very effective. He ain't like Steph or anything where he comes off screens and score off the ball. No, he needs the ball to be Trae Young. So what I would do, I would have Quickley guard him tight where the ball comes out of his hand and let the other team figure out how to score. That's the way of beating the Hawks team. When you eliminate Trae Young to an extent by getting the ball out of his hands, you have a chance to beat them. Simple as that. I've seen too many teams do that to him. And he will look average. So that's what we need to do. We need to pressure him.
Listen, it's easier said than done. You got to have the players to be able to do that. You know what I mean? And if you plan on doing that, Emmanuel Quickley is probably the guy on this particular team that can do it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, with him because he's very frenetic. He has energy. He has the wingspan, and then he plays with resistance. Like you're just not gonna get what you want on him. Right. He's going to show. So that's why I'm saying he's
also got to be careful too because Trae Young's a very crafty player and quickly cannot get into foul trouble in this game. Because he gets into foul trouble, the whole offensive game plan changes for the Knicks because then you really just have Julius Randle you have to feed the ball through and hope that he can get going. Because if Quickley gets in foul trouble, I don't know who else you bring into the lineup outside of Quickley. Maybe Burks, maybe McBride. I mean, you're really asking a lot of your point guard.
If you're talking about guard and Trae Young, it's probably going to be McBride. Looking at their numbers quickly on the season, he's averaging 9.3 points per game, 1.9 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. He's shooting 41.2% from the field and 38.4% from three. He's also shooting 91.4% from the free throw line. Trae Young, obviously, he's a starting point guard for the Atlanta Hawks, getting way more minutes than Quickley. He's got a much better offensive game than Quickley at this point in their careers. But Trae Young is averaging 25.6 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game, and 9.2 assists per game. He shoots 46.5% from the field and 38.6% from three. And he's also shooting free throws at 90%. All right, so that's going to be this right here. Just this matchup is making me excited for this game because I want to see Quickley be that starter, go up against Trae Young. It's making me excited for the game. Another key matchup for me is Julius Randle and John Collins. All right. People would look and say, well, Julius Randle should win this matchup, but with the way things have been going this season, you don't know what to get. Julius Randle took 8 shots last night. 8. He had 9 points. He took 8 shots. He was 3 for 8 from the field.
Crowder took him out the game.
Tim, are we still sure?
I don't even know if it was. It wasn't Crowder by himself. They sent a double team on every single possession. Other teams don't double every single possession. They doubled every time Julius Randle had a ball. A double team was coming, and it was coming from different directions. Julius Randle never had a chance to figure out where the double team was going to come from because they sent them at all different angles.
Because I heard a caller on your show this early today when I was listening to it. Bro, he takes long to throw the ball out. Because plenty of times last night where the double was coming and he's seen it, and it's just like he waits till they get around him to throw the ball. I don't understand. Like a double team, when anybody can see it coming to throw it.
Well, you have to find the sweet spot. See, you have to find a sweet spot, and that's where I think he has trouble. There's a sweet spot when it comes to passing out of the double team. Because if you pass too early,
then we have a problem then.
No, listen, hold up. Listen. If you pass too early, right? You pass too early, then you're not drawing the defense. When you know someone's coming to double team, you want them to kind of get towards you so then you can pass that ball out and now your teammate is open. But of course, if you pass too late, now you're double teamed. So you've got to find that sweet spot of when to make that pass, and he doesn't know where that sweet spot is. You know what I mean? He hasn't figured out how to find that sweet spot. But this matchup right here, John Collins and Julius Randle, this is going to be an interesting matchup. Julius Randle's numbers are down from last year. He's averaging 19.8 points per game, 10.1 rebounds per game, 5.1 assists per game, shooting 42% from the field, 33.9% from three, and 75% from the free throw line. John Collins, he's averaging 16.8 points per game, 7.9 rebounds, 2.2 assists. He's shooting 57.6% from the field and 38.5% from the three-point line. He shoots 78.8% from the free throw line. All right, and you got to watch it because he can run the screen and roll with Trae Young. He can run the pick and pop with Trae Young. You can find John Collins in the corner, and he can knock it down. Too. Okay, so, he's a versatile big that, as you can see, is shooting well from the field. This is a key matchup that I think we have to watch tonight. We need Julius Randle to come and play ball. It is a matchup that he can win, but he's got to be able to play ball. And this team, the Atlanta Hawks, they developed the blueprint. I don't want to say they developed it, but they publicized, they marketed the blueprint, if you want to say, on how to take Julius Randle out the game.
What made it worse is we got into the play and playing on national TV. So now you're gonna see more.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They set up that blueprint, and other teams have been taking it all season long, and it's part of the reason you see Julius Randle struggling. Nate, you was about to say something.
I would say more like expose maybe his weaknesses a lot more in his game that he needs to work on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But one thing I've noticed watching Julius Randle play that a lot of teams are doing is they're playing smaller guards that are more defensive savvy on him rather than playing bigs on bigs. And I actually think because John Collins is a big part of what the Hawks do along with Trae Young. I could actually see a situation where they take a guy like Cam Reddish and play him on Julius Randle because of Cam Reddish is not a small dude. He's a pretty thick dude. And he's got length, and he could definitely frustrate Julius Randle, kind of like Caruso did with when they played the Bulls. And so I actually think that don't be surprised if you see some situations where Cam Reddish is guarding Julius Randle. Now, Julius Randle's going to have to take advantage of that and get baskets or get Cam in foul trouble. But I think a lot of people are not respecting Julius Randle's game, and they're putting him against smaller people. Like, look at Crowder.
Well,
Crowder's another example.
Well, I don't think this is something that I noticed last season. I talked about it on several occasions, and I don't think it's disrespecting his game. I think they noticed that when Julius Randle gets a smaller player on him, he becomes tentative.
He's very limited, bro.
Right, because Julius Randle doesn't want to pick up that offensive foul, so now he becomes very tentative. And instead of, trying to back him down or really establish some position deep under the basket, he resorts to shooting over top of them from the outside. True. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't want to pick up that foul. He doesn't want to run that person over, and I think teams notice that. And yeah, there are a lot of teams that put someone small on Julius Randle, and it causes him some problems. And not only does it cause Randle problems, it causes the rest of the team problems. Because now Randle has the ball, and he's already a little tentative. He's going to knock this guy over. And then when he does look to draw and kick, you have a longer player in the passing lanes. You know what I'm saying? So if you take a 6'3 guy, 6'4 guy, and put him on Randle, and now instead of that guy guarding IQ, let's just say, for example, right? So let's just say, for example, they had Trae Young on Randle, right? And Randle's tentative, and now, everybody who's 6'8" or better is in the passing lanes. Now it's even tougher for him to find somebody to pass to. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a question.
That's a strategy that I've seen teams taking all last season. I see teams use that strategy. Go ahead, Mark. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all good. How many more games is he going to need to figure out from a game-to-game aspect that we see with most players that go out and play every night? Because the same things are current. It's like, as a basketball player, you get certain defense thrown at you and stuff like that, but players tend to figure it out. I've watched, say, Steph Curry, for example, right? Just in how they throw boxing one at him and all type of janky defense, but you could see that he figured it out within the game or probably the next time he played. How long are we going to wait for this one particular player that we run the offense through to figure it out throughout the season? I just need a number on that, because if this cannot change, something has to change.
The thing that has to change is you need a guard that can be your facilitator. That's the issue.
But I'm gonna throw another thing at you.
That's the issue.
Thing is, right? Because for him as a player, right? I could understand if he was very effective off the ball, where it's me getting a guard will definitely help him, right? But because he needs the ball to be very effective as a player, even having a guard, because he's going to need the ball to actually do things.
But see, I don't think that's necessarily the truth, right? I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I think that he can play with a guard that's ball dominant. I think he can play with a guard that's ball dominant. Right? Let me ask you this. And the reason why I say that is because there are times when you've seen him and Kemba run, screen and roll, and Kemba find them in the pick and pop or pick and roll to the basket. And we've seen that this year. When Alec Burks is in the game, he has no problem stepping aside and let Alec Burks handle the basketball. He has no issue with it at all. When Derrick Rose is in the game, he doesn't have a problem with it. But in this starting unit, when it's not running through Randle, what do we get?
Nothing.
Can't tell you anything, bro. We don't get nothing. Even sometimes.
But that's the issue, right? It's not pretty when it's running through Randle, because he doesn't have the natural IQ, to make these quick decisions you need, in my opinion.
He's not like a joker.
But with this starting unit, if Randle doesn't have the ball, we don't get. I mean, I've seen times when I'm seeing Kemba over on, Randle over in the corner and Kemba over on this side of the ball, and he's trying to get something going. He dribbles off his leg. The defense is pushing him around. He can't get this. Fournier's not getting that. RJ's, sometimes you can give it to RJ and he can get something going to the basket, right? But for the most part, with this starting unit, when it's not going through Randle, we're struggling to get anything else going. You know what I'm saying? So it resorts to going back to Julius Randle. We need somebody out there that can start creating on the opposite side of the floor.
No, you're definitely right about that.
And make something happen and facilitate for everybody out there, because, and then I think it can change. Until then, what else are we going to do? And obviously, it's not great when it's going through Randle. At least this season, it ain't.
You're right, to an extent, right? But then again, right, you still want him to be a somewhat impactful player. So say if we did have a guard that did the necessary things at times, right? But the thing with Randle is that he's so ball dominant. It's just like, because he's on the floor, I could understand if the kid knew how to play well off ball, then it'll be a different story. But you still want to have him in the game where he still feel part of the game, because when he's not a part of the game, he's nowhere to be found.
But see, this is, was he ball dominant when he was in New Orleans?
He couldn't be balled down because he was coming off the bench, and they didn't have to go.
But there was a time when AD was not playing and Julius Randle was out there. So he averaged 20, 21 points a game or whatever he did. And Drew Holiday was the guy with the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
And he still put up the numbers that he put up with Drew Holiday being the dominant ball handler. He can do it, and it can be done. This is the offense that he's in right now. But we don't have the personnel.
And another thing too, when he played for the Pelicans, they ran a lot. He's playing a lot of downhill, and I always mention if you go watch when he was the Pelicans, he was more running compared to now. But now that we got him now, he's not going to do those necessary things that he did for the Pelicans.
But is that him or is that the system that he's playing in? Because when he was there, that was their system. Yeah,
but then again, understandable. But now that we don't have that system, though, right? He still don't. There's opportunities where he should be coming downhill. We should be running heavy.
I get it. But you have to practice that. I'm sorry. People always say this player should be doing this.
Break, you have to practice running the breaks in?
Listen, you have to. It has to be part of what you do as a team. It just does. People get that mixed up all the time, in my opinion. But when your coach says this is how we're going to play basketball, that's what you take to the court.
So let me ask you a question. I remember when Tibbs had D Rose, they wasn't much of a tempo team. But what you did see that most of their points when they got into fast break, it was because your main player, D Rose, he used to get out in transition.
That was D Rose style. That was what he did. That was what he. But what I'm saying, so that is what he did, and that is what Tom Thibodeau told him to do. We don't know what Tom Thibodeau is telling these guys to do.
I hear Tom Thibodeau all the time saying we want to move the ball, we want to run.
But who was he saying it about? Because if you go back to last season, he said we want the young guys to run and we want the older guys to slow it down. I can pull it out for you. He said those exact words.
So you're telling me when there's an opportunity for the whole team?
No, obviously. Listen, this team is averaging way more fast break points than they averaged last year.
We don't even feel like it, to tell you the truth.
Right? They're averaging way more fast break. Last year, we averaged 7 to 8 fast break points per game. This year, we're averaging 12.
Is that coming from the bench or is that coming from the starters?
I think it's coming a lot from the bench and some from the starters.
Can I say something?
Oh, let me go on to the next key matchup because my next key matchup is Mitchell Robinson and Clint Capela. Because there was a lot of talk last year, myself included, that the Knicks would have been different in the playoffs if Mitchell Robinson was there. And I agreed. Right? I agreed that the Knicks would have been different. Would the Knicks have won the series? I don't know. But the game would have looked different. And at least it would have been a closer series. Now we really get a chance to tell. Both teams, for the most part, well, you can't say that for the Knicks. They're not healthy. Derrick Rose ain't there. No Nerlens Noel, no Kemba Walker, right? But you're going to get a chance to see, would it have really made a difference if Mitchell Robinson was there? And while it doesn't do nothing for last year was last year, it does do something for this year. And it lets you know, yesterday Josh was saying a lot of stuff about Mitch. He doesn't think Mitch is worth this, he's worth that. He thinks we're better off without him, so on and so forth. In the first quarter, Mitch was grabbing offensive rebound after offensive rebound, getting putbacks after putbacks. And you've seen why he's important to this team. You know what I mean? The size with Clint Capela, I think, is important. His ability to grab offensive rebounds when we miss is important. You know what I mean? So I think this is a matchup where you can see what the difference would have been like if Mitchell Robinson was there and then kind of, maybe project forward. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson has been in and out of the lineup due to various injuries. What do you think, Mark? And then I'm going to come to you, Nate.
Because he's been spotty this year and he's still trying to figure out his new body and he ain't as quick that he was last year. what I would say is that Clint Capela won't look as dominant in the paint that he looked the last time we played him. I would say that. But last year it would have been different because when Mitch was able to guard pick and rolls.
Right.
He was able to guard pick and rolls. This year's a different story because the way our defense look, it's like he's trying to do multiple things, but because he's a tad bit slower because of the body weight that he put on, it's not as effective that it could have been last year. So now there's another dilemma in that. And
True.
to think about it too, what Josh is saying, if we don't get a point guard, sometimes Mitch, because I believe if we did have a point guard, he'll be much of a little offensive threat just deep in the paint at times because he really seals. He seals and he gets up quick.
He does.
But no one finds him. No one. He be having his hands up. It's like until we find another point guard. Man, that's just.
Evan Fournier found early in the season. Evan Fournier was finding him, and I thought those two were going to develop a connection because Evan Fournier would find him every. Yeah, I know.
It's just.
I know.
It's just.
It's crazy that for the entire starting five, the entire starting unit.
It's hard, yo.
No, I mean, but the entire starting unit, their numbers are down this season for that entire unit.
Man,
That's crazy.
When I looked at RJ numbers the last 10 games, I said, no, this cannot be. You can't have a starter for 10 games playing like that. No way. This starting lineup, I've never seen a starting lineup in NBA history that played the way we played in the last couple of games like that, where everybody numbers is down.
Everybody. Everybody. I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny though. Everybody's numbers are down.
They got articles talking about the bench and cursing out the starters. The starters are abysmal, like god awful. Gabaggio.
Yeah. You threw that Gmo word in there, huh?
Yeah, being on his show too much, you start picking up his word.
All right. Nate, this matchup between Mitchell Robinson and Clint Capela.
I mean, the reality is you can't replace a 7-footer. And a guy who's 7 foot, is athletic, who's put on muscle, that's going to be a huge advantage going into a matchup with Capela, who is more of a lengthy type of taller guy. So I think Mitch should, at least that matchup should be even. But there's no doubt that without him last year, Capela was able to run all over the court, and he was able to get anything he wanted. So I think Mitch kind of.
I'm going to be honest with you, Nate.
What's up?
To beat Capela, to get Capela out of the game, you have to have a stretch 5. It worked every time. Anytime. Yeah.
But Mitch played a lot, but Capela played a lot in the paint. Like he was getting lobs every 5 seconds on us. I didn't really see him out in the perimeter. So what I'm saying is Mitch can kind of close that space off for Capela at the rim. But the thing is, Mitch he's got to compete every night. The thing about Mitch is he's a talented guy, but I think he lacks a lot of consistency. And the problem is that if he's looking to get paid, he needs to show us why he should get paid by us and why we should keep him. And I feel like there's some games where you're like, you know what, Mitch is going to be the dude. And then there's some games where I'm like, you know what, maybe we're better off without Mitch. Maybe we're better off getting another center or somebody else that could be more of an offensive threat. So I just need to see more consistency from Mitch. But I think this will be a good matchup tonight for him.
He's coming off a foot injury. He gained a new body. Listen, to get Capela out of you have to get Capela out the paint, period. If he's in the paint, that's where he flourished.
That's where
he flourished. When teams go against Hawks, you need like a stretch 5 to take Capela out.
Okay, let me get to this phone call real quick. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from.
How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing pretty good. How you feeling?
Yeah, my name is Naya from Brooklyn.
All right.
Yeah.
Glad to have you on.
I just have a question about Julius.
All right.
As far as him, like where he catches the ball, do you think he has to change that whole thing? Like he got to go deeper, closer to the rim. I feel like he's catching the ball too far out, and he runs around the perimeter and he doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
he runs across laterally, and I think that's a big issue for his size.
Yeah, I definitely think he needs to catch the ball lower on the block. I mean, that's his bread and butter. That should be his bread and butter. I mean, there's two things I think he should do. I think he should catch the ball lower. And when Julius Randle catches the ball and just decides I'm going to the basket, not, without taking 8 million dribbles, he just catches it and goes. Nobody can stay in front of him.
Nope.
He gets to the cup. He gets fouled. He scores. Nobody can stay in front of him. But I don't understand why he's got to catch it and, boom, 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 take all these rhythm dribbles or whatever, and then try to go to the basket. But when he catches it and goes,
he just drives me crazy with that, man. I feel like the team would be much better if he just go in the paint and just use his size and just dominate. But even when I seen the game when he had Chris Paul, I mean, he could have posted up Chris Paul. He passed the ball. I couldn't believe it. He passed the ball.
Yeah.
He's so big, and he had Chris Paul in the post, and he passes the ball.
I mean, Chris Paul is strong.
Yeah.
Chris Paul is strong, and I think he was having some trouble with that strength. And he, like I said, when Julius Randle gets somebody smaller on him, he gets tentative. He doesn't want to pick up that foul. But he definitely needs to go lower in the paint. He's playing a lot outside, a lot on the perimeter. And right now, he's not shooting well enough from the mid-range to stay in that area and be effective. Yeah.
I don't know. It's depressing watching it, man. Sometimes I hope he just, like, one day just go. When he does that, like, nobody can stop him.
True. Nah, right. He's a bull. I mean, you seen the first play of the game versus the Lakers. He drove to the basket, went under, and he just bulled his way to the cup over Anthony Davis. Just bulled his way. Pushed him out the way and scored. But this is up. The coaches got to tell him. The coaches got to tell him to do it too. I mean, yeah, it's up to him to do it, but the coaches also say, "Hey, we need you down here. Get down there. Go get you a big man bucket."
But you think Thibodeau's not bringing that up, like in practice, like he's not telling him this?
It's hard to say. I don't know. Obviously we're not there, but when you see the same things happening over and over that don't seem to be working, it makes you wonder if it's one of two things. Either the coach isn't saying anything or the player is refusing to do what the coach is saying to do. Right? So, I mean, that's the only two things that I can figure. Either Tom Thibodeau's like, hey, this is what we do, and he's cool with it, or when he tells them, or the coaching staff tells him, we need you to get down there. We need you to, any of the players, we need you to do this or that, and we don't see the change, then maybe that player is just being stubborn. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Appreciate your time, man. Appreciate your call. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is a matchup, another key matchup to watch for. Let's take a look at the keys to the game. My number one key to this game is defend the screen and roll. That's the number one key to this game. We got eaten alive last year in the playoffs, but not just in the playoffs. The game that the Knicks played against the Hawks, the last time they played them during the season, the Knicks won that game. But man, let me tell you, they were killing us in the screen and roll. And Trae Young got hurt. He went out the game. But they were eating us alive. Trae Young and Clint Capela were eating our food and spitting it back out at us.
Yeah, and Bogdanovich too. He was killing us too.
And that made me a little bit afraid. That made me a little bit afraid when the playoffs came. You know what I'm saying? Made me a little bit afraid when the playoffs came. Hey, Steph. I'm sorry, I didn't even see you there, Steph.
No, it's cool.
That made me a little bit afraid when the playoffs came. But they killed us in the screen and roll that last game we played them before the playoffs. So we got to figure out a way to defend the screen and roll tonight. I know Mark was talking about taking the ball out of Trae Young's hands. How do we do that? I don't know. Do we blitz him off of the screen and roll, send
Ball
two
pressure.
at him? Do we trap him early as soon as he comes off, over the half court line, send two at him? make him have to pass the ball, get the ball out of his hands. How do we do it? We got to figure that out. I think we got to make sure we finish the defense with a rebound. Clint Capela is a crazy offensive rebounder. You know what I mean? If we don't finish the defense with a rebound and we let them get offensive rebounds, it's going to be a long night. We got to make Young defend. If Emmanuel Quickley is going to be the point guard, we need to make Trae Young use Emmanuel Quickley. Use Emmanuel Quickley. They might use Emmanuel Quickley. You know what I mean? And make Trae Young defend. We need man and ball movement. Right? We got to have that man movement and ball movement. And then, of course, if we get a lead, protect it. Got to have fourth quarter execution. Steph, I want to come to you since, we're just getting a chance to speak to you. How do you feel about Rose is out, Kemba's out? You think it's going to be Emmanuel Quickley taking over that starting spot?
I mean, he's the next person up. I would prefer him over. I guess I would prefer him over Burke because I just see Quickley with a little bit more playmaking this year. And I think if Trae Young does have to play him, he would have to defend, expend some energy, on the defensive end if he has to play Quickley. I mean, listen, in that starting unit, I heard you guys talking. It's not gonna matter. Randle's gonna have the ball in his hand, and Quickley will probably be playing off ball anyway. But
probably. Unless Quickley is really cooking.
Yeah.
Unless Quickley is really cooking out there, then he'll have the ball in his hands. But from the beginning, the ball is probably going to be in Randle's hands, and Quickley's going to be playing off the ball.
Let Julius run the point. People in the chat really are something else, but hey.
But you know what, Mark? Like you guys were saying, I would love the ball to be out of his hands, but we just a worse team when it's not.
It's so fun. It's like we can't find balance with him playing on and off. That we have to find that little balance because when he does it, when he plays off, he becomes very passive, not engaged. Like he don't want to play. Goes to the bench, soak it up. When he got the ball in the hand, he got his juice, and then when he gets his juice sometimes, he goes inferno. Sometimes not saying shut people out, but sometimes it'll be too Randle centric. People haven't touched the ball. Other players are out of rhythm, and guys need rhythm. And we have to find a balance between that. If someone like that's gonna have to hold the ball, man, it's like that every night. It's like that every night.
Well, go ahead. Seth.
Just briefly, when he has the ball, though, he does look to involve other people. It's just that if we had somebody else, they would probably get the ball more in flow. They would get the ball right in the pocket. You could pass people. There's some point guards that could pass you into a play that you didn't even think was there. He's not that guy.
And you know what? Watch the shot clock when he has the ball, most importantly.
Right.
If you watch the shot clock and when he gives up the ball, it's like teetering.
Right.
That's what happens. Not saying that he don't look, but it takes too long.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But he might be the best we have right now.
That's all we got. That's all we got. And he has to find balance.
And the reality is, I mean, Mark, you talked about it against the Suns. You said that their offense flowed and moved pretty. Why? Because they have a point guard in CP3 who's a generational point guard but knows how to work the offense. We don't have a point guard on this team. I'm sorry, Emmanuel Quickley is not that dude either. We're back to square one once again. We don't have a point guard that can run this offense, and I guarantee if we did, you see this offense run a lot different, and I think everybody would have their touches, everybody be in the right spots if we had a point guard who had the IQ to run an offense, and that's what we're missing. We don't have that, and the thing is that in this league, the great teams have a good point guard. Steph, Trae Young, CP3. We don't have that, and we haven't had that, and that's the problem with this team is that you can try as many things you can to make this offense run, but if you don't have, it's like in football. If you don't have a quarterback, how are you going to win? You can have a great defense, you can have great skill set players, but if you have nobody to throw the ball, you're never going to win. Well, that's the way the Knicks are right now offensively. We don't have a point guard to run this offense. We don't have a point guard that has the IQ to understand how to get other players involved, at least not right now. And the reality is we're just going to keep struggling.
And you know what? I wonder if the way Randle played last year had the front office thinking that point guard wasn't really a priority, because I thought coming into the offseason that was going to be numero uno on the list. Right. And it wasn't. And maybe they just knew how he played, that, you know, a point guard taking the ball out of his hands, he's not going to be effective. We got to get somebody who could play off the ball.
Yes. Sam, I don't really celebrate Christmas, but all I want for Christmas this year is Ish Smith. Someone just get me Ish Smith in here. Someone that
I don't think Randle would let Ish Smith be Ish Smith. You're gonna need an alpha. You're gonna need an alpha point guard.
Yeah. You got to have an alpha point guard. I agree with that.
As much as I hate to say it, and I really don't really like this player, but Lonzo Ball would have made a lot of sense on this team, like Sim was saying. Because the guy, he can get players involved. He has a high IQ. He plays well on defense. He gives you everything that you want in a young point guard. And I think this team would be better if we had a guy like Lonzo Ball right now.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, I mean, that ship is sailed.
They gave him the money. They've been vetting him from last year. They have a loss. They have something with the league where they was talking to Lonzo from last year. So him coming to us was not even a thing. So you know.
Yeah, Steph. Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Do you think internally the Knicks are having some issues player-wise?
You know what, Sam? Before I came on, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, something is off. Like, something is just not right with this team. I'm wondering if there's something going on in the locker room. And sometimes it may not even be said. It's just an energy in the locker room, you know, where you just not together, but nobody really wants to say anything about it. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I can feel it. I think it's between Fournier and Randle, in my opinion. I think it's those two guys. I was watching last night when Julius Randle got the pass from Fournier. Fournier was inbounding the basketball. He passed it to Julius Randle, right? And instead of going, when he passed it in, instead of going the opposite direction, he ran right towards Julius Randle. Julius Randle was turning around to get in a triple threat, bumped into Fournier, turned the basketball over, right? And I seen Randle run back, had a mug on his face, and he looked at Fournier and said, "You're supposed to go around me over there." And I was like, oh, man.
So, Sim, remember when you brought up the after game and Fournier was talking on the thing and I said what I said? I said what I said, right? There you go. Listen, man, and you know, I can bring up things, but people don't want to listen till something happens. You can clearly see it on the court, but you know, Mark is crazy.
I'm
telling you.
I always thought that there was an issue between those two. I always thought that
it's about the playing style.
I can see that there's an issue with them too.
It's very true that could be the case, because that would explain why Fournier starts off hot and then just falls apart the rest of the game.
I don't know. I think that's on Fournier. I think that's on Fournier.
He needs some overshots, but when he talks, he talks like, if this team can be consistent in running how the first quarters will look at times for us, we can beat anybody. But it stops because players get back into their own mode.
I think some of it is Fournier. I think for whatever reason, I feel like there are some things with what Tom Thibodeau is running that Fournier either doesn't like or doesn't get. Because I told you, I've seen several times when RJ is waving his hands, telling Fournier, get out, move, get out the way. It's not where you're supposed to be right now.
But this too, even when you watch throughout the games, there's games where he's open too, and he's clapping for. Dude be clapping for the ball, bro. It's glaring.
I mean, everybody claps for the ball. Everybody claps. That's no. I mean, the thing is that you teach that. Yeah. Clap for the basketball.
And the reality is, if you look at Fournier, he's came from teams where he was more of the dude.
Yeah. You know, no, he was never the dude, bro.
He was the dude in Orlando.
More of.
He was the dude in Orlando. Who else was outplaying him? But what I'm saying is, when you're the guy, you're the focal point of the offense from other teams, and you come to a team where there's a lot more pieces on there, you have to either accept it or you have to not accept it. And you're probably right. He's not accepting that fact that it's just like, you know, he's not used to the ball not being in his hands, and he's got a guy like Julius Randle who they want to make the focal point of the offense. Quite frankly, just looking at this from a 20-game lens, those two do not match. And I think that
Who, Randle and Fournier?
yeah, I just don't. I don't think the combination matches. I really don't. And I almost want to. I hate to say this, but we probably are better off with keeping Bullock because they had a better synergy.
I actually think the play styles do match. I think it's the personalities that don't match.
Right.
That's
It's not
what
the
even
game
that.
should
I think
match.
it's timing. This team lacks timing. Like when we run our offense, there's supposed to be it's timing. Like when the offense run, it's all about timing. When to get the ball out of a person's hand, when to move, and when to execute. We do not execute well. That we're supposed
I mean,
to.
I agree. Offense is about timing, but I think it's more than timing because timing comes with playing together, right? So you would see better timing later on in the season. There's something just amiss, and I think it's personality
We
clashes.
need a point guard too.
Because it shouldn't take this long, right? This is a long time.
Nate, that don't make no sense how he don't fit with this offense because he played in Boston. Boston was a team that moved the ball.
Well, it's maybe not the right system.
And Orlando moved the ball because he played for Steve Clifford. And if anybody
which is a more open offense than I feel Tom Thibodeau's running. I feel Tom Thibodeau's basically playing, like I said, through Julius Randle and having shooters on the outside, which fits Fournier. But the problem with Fournier is that he doesn't drive. He doesn't take it to the basket.
There's no
Julius
room to
can
drive.
play on the outside and Fournier can play on the inside and drive it to the basket. See, that's what the communication. They have to communicate with each other.
Okay, do you watch how Randle space? He does not space correctly all the time. He be in the offensive area most of the time. And then their defender, whoever's on Julius Randle, be right there. The spacing is very horrible for this team.
I agree, but that's on the coach. The coach needs to do a better job of getting them
that's on the
spaced
players.
out.
Players have to know where
But
to
the
be.
coach is the one that sets the plan, and he needs to tell them to move out of the way and get spaced out.
I'm
And
sure
they're
he
not
said
doing
that. I can't tell you how many times in practice you've told players to do
Well, and they're
something, and then
ignorant.
they get in the
I guess
game,
that's the case.
and it's like they just walked in off the street.
Right.
Stephanie, I don't know if I have blind eyes, but I hear Tom Thibodeau yelling, calling plays, move.
Yeah,
Bro,
he's
don't
always
tell me
saying
about
move.
him. It's the players. You have to go out there.
Well,
and
if they're
do
not responding to the coach, that's a problem.
Oh my. Okay.
I'm serious.
Tom Thibodeau thing.
Tim, if you're a coach and they're not responding to you, is that a problem?
I don't know if it's a problem on me or if it's a problem on the players. Because
No,
if
I'm
I'm the
saying
coach, I mean, it's a
players aren't
problem.
responding to you.
It's a problem.
It's a
But
problem.
if they're not responding to me, then maybe I'm not relating to my players.
Then we have to fire the coach again. How about that? we closed a year that we wasn't supposed to have, and now because players get a new found of stardom, they don't want to do what's necessary, what helped last year.
I mean, all I'm saying, we don't know. We don't know where the issue lies. You know what I mean?
This is getting me mad, and I'm getting.
I see. We don't know where the issue lies right now. If it's with the coach, if it's with the players.
You got to
if it's-
win. Therefore,
I
quiet
wonder
votes.
though. I'm not going to say intimidated, but I wonder if they don't really want to say anything to Randle. You know, I mean, I wonder if
Could
because he
be.
had the season that he had, they just going to allow him to just play the way he wants to play and not really change anything.
Right.
I'm
I
not.
think Fournier
know.
would challenge Randle.
I
They
think-
might- they might
Coaching staff.
challenge him.
I think she's talking about the coaching staff. Yeah.
And you know what, too, Sam? Woody was a big loss because, again, his offense showed before he left. What he ran, the spacing was there. Woody's a good offensive coach.
But the Knicks didn't have a great offense last year. It was throw it into Randle, and he was gonna find the shooters that same last second shot. I mean, pass when he was
the
going to the
positioning and spacing was kind of better last year compared to this year. Just look at the space and how it looks. Just how it looks.
Tim,
Not saying
Tim.
if it doesn't run or not, but how it looks. How it looks is a lot has to do with Woody.
Tim, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that Tibbs needs to bring in somebody more offensive minded to kind of give him more creativity, more thoughts into the offense? Because, you know, just like if you're a coach and you're bad at defense, you bring in somebody who's more defensive minded, gives you ideas. I mean, it can go the other way with offense. I mean,
You got to have the personnel, though.
Yeah,
have the personnel.
I mean, that is true. But
This is the most varied I've seen the offense since last year. Different sets, different, and the players are either they're not executing, the spacing is not correct, or they're not hitting the shots that they do get.
right.
And this too, Stephanie, when he played with Minnesota, they was ninth in offensive efficiency. Even when you look at this team, I don't know where we are in field goal efficiency, but we're very high. We get open shots. I don't care what nobody say. This offense generate open shots.
Yeah, we get open shots.
It generates open executing. It's just not. They're just not. It's not the offense. It's the players that's not sticking to what is working, because you see it in the first quarters. So
Right.
It tells me it works. But when the team gets so comfortable and thinking that the game is over, they revert back. They get hit, and now they feel like they have to revert back to their old style. They don't trust what was working in the beginning. That's what's happening. And we go a whole bunch of one-on-one ISO, and it's all flabbergasted. So again, the players have to play as a unit. When we play as a unit, we can challenge anybody. We cannot play outside of the team. No one can play like they're the big star. We have no stars. We have a whole bunch of guys that's mostly overachieving or just good NBA role players at this point. So we have to play as a unit until we learn how to play on the string as a unit, how we see from the bench. Because if we see it from the bench and not with the starting five, there's a problem with the starting five. There's a communication. No one talks. No one tells you need to be there. It's just everyone man for themselves in the starting lineup.
But keep in mind, Mark, the second unit does have a little more continuity.
Yeah, that too. But they're talking. If you watch them, they're talking. They're moving. And the thing is, you see, if Randle going to be the 4-man, right, and a guy that can move, if he played a lot like Obi, where he's just moving a little bit, it opens the floor up, because Randle would be able to come down here mostly or get closer to the rim to finish around the cup. It doesn't happen.
Right.
So that's
but you got to keep in mind they have very different games, right?
You're right.
So,
you're right.
Obi can't bring the ball up, put the ball on the floor, and do all of those things, right? So, I mean, to ask Randle to do that is kind of limiting his skill set. The second thing is Obi has people, other players on the court that can kind of set him up. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if we have that in the first unit, but I do think it's something we need. I saw Kemba did it. I forgot what game it was, and Randle got a lot of easy shots, off of Kemba. It's just not consistent, and I don't know if that's Kemba or Randle wanting to go back and get the ball instead of playing off of it.
So if it is a personnel issue, my question is, a lot of these players were locked in at least for a couple of years. I mean, what's the answer?
No, they're all tradable contracts. It's just trying to find somebody who values them.
So, and some of them is like the 2 extra years. I think on Burke is non-guarantee, something like that.
Yeah,
I think he's only getting paid for
the
this
last year. Yeah.
So let me get to this phone call, but then I want to ask you, how do you think the bench performs tonight with so many people out? I mean, you're talking about there's going to be some new players playing in the bench that we haven't seen a lot this season. So I want to ask you that, but let me get to this phone call first. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from.
Hey, Sam. This is David calling from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hey, what's going on?
Shout out to the panel.
What's up with you, Dave? How you feeling?
Bro? Oh, man, doing good. Love the diversity tonight. 2 quick points, Sam and the panel. I want to go back to something Mark said a couple nights ago after we beat the Lakers, and I think, Sam, you and Ron kind of laughed at him, but I picked up on something that Fournier said on his interview after the game, and he was talking about Fournier was talking about what made that win against LA so successful, and he was talking about bringing the ball up the court, swinging it from side to side, and I think, to Mark's point, he was talking directly at the way that Julius plays the game, bringing the ball up slow, not swinging it, no ball movement. And I think if you go back and listen to that post-game interview, you'll hear Fournier, his IQ and what he was talking about with the game and how it's being played. And I think there were some key points in that interview that was spot on, and he was speaking directly to what Julius was saying. And then my second point, really for the panel, and Steph really hit the nail on the head as well as Nate, is moving forward. I don't think this situation is going to get better soon. So looking at the contracts and the situation, Randle had one good year, which was last year. We all know that. The first year really was not good, was garbage. So from the panel, who do we keep? Who do we build around? Who do we trade? What do we do moving forward? Because if this situation is not getting better, how do we build moving forward? And I think that's the question that we really got to get to moving forward. Thank you all, and we'll see y'all after the game as well.
All right, Dave.
Shout out.
Appreciate the call, man.
you.
Appreciate the call.
Start with the point guard.
That's it. Start with the point guard. You gotta get a point guard. There were two guys that I wanted in the offseason. I know we can't cry over spilt milk, but can't cry over. But I can't think of his name now. From Toronto.
Ball.
Lonzo Ball.
No, from Toronto.
Lowry.
I wanted Kyle Lowry.
Oh, Lowry, yeah.
Or Lonzo Ball, or both of them.
Right.
Or both of them. I felt like Kyle Lowry fit this team perfectly with the toughness, the ability to shoot the three, his veteranism. I just felt
and he's an alpha too.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have had no problems with Randle.
Nope.
And sometimes you have to overpay. Like everybody's talking about, we got to hold on to our young people. Got to hold on to these draft picks. At some point, you got to pony up, and sometimes you got to overpay.
Our front office didn't want to do that. They had the ability. They didn't want to do it, and they made it very clear they were not going to pay no more 4 years, and we're going to do 4 years for a player. And
the only way,
but 4 years still. I mean, 4 years is a long time.
They were going to give Ball 4 years, and they were going to pay Lowry that money.
No, I would have gave Lonzo the 4 years. The only way we was going to get him was if we were to trade for him last year. That was the only way we could have got him, and then say, "Yo, listen, we'll give you the 80." But they was vetting him from Chicago. Was vetting from last year. So again, we didn't know that, but now that we know now. We would have had to trade to get Lonzo.
I think they lowballed Ball, period.
Cool. He got paid his right. 80, 20.
No, I know. I'm saying the Knicks lowballed him. The Bulls paid for him because they saw the value in what he could bring to the table. The Knicks, they didn't want to pay him, period.
So what do you guys think about the bench tonight? Given that, most likely Emmanuel Quickley moves into that starting lineup. Nerlens Noel, according to Tommy Beer, is out. I mean, so you're talking about, so now you're talking about Burks and Obi.
Need Obi,
the main guys off the bench, right?
Need Obi to step up big time.
The main guys off the bench, and then Grimes is probably going to get some playing time. McBride, maybe Jericho Sims. Maybe Kevin Knox finds his way in there. Maybe Tom Thibodeau uses Kevin Knox.
I hope so.
I don't know, Steph, what do you think? What are you expecting from the bench?
Well, they're going to be shorthanded, for sure, right? Noel is out, Rose is out, IQ is in the starting lineup. Now you're putting rookies in, to play against a team whose second unit has been pretty much intact from last season, right? So I hope the rookies play well. He may go small ball, right? With Randle at the 5. I don't know what Randle and Capela though, but he may do that. I think he might be too much of a load for Sims. We'll see. And remember, this team is coming in hot. They on all cylinders right now, and we still trying to find our way, and we limping in. Literally.
No, we getting boxed out on spot. What you talking about?
And Mitch is healthy, but relatively healthy. You know what I mean? So
cross your fingers.
Right, cross your fingers. I think our bench is at a disadvantage tonight.
Yeah, definitely at a disadvantage. I mean, it's a good chance to be able to see our young guys. Maybe McBride get some significant playing time. Grimes, he played last night. I thought he was doing well last night.
He did well.
I thought he was doing well. So he'll get some more playing time. I don't know if it's going to be Jericho Sims or Kevin Knox.
I'm going to say this. I would put Knox just because we just need shooting. Period.
Yeah, I
We just
agree.
need shooting,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
We need
yeah.
it. And again, he has a first step. And the thing is too, it's cool that we could go small ball because again, Julius Randle could play outside. But the key to that is when he gets the ball, he has to attack quickly. He can't sit there and have Capela on him like that stationary. Attack him. When you attack him, you get him into foul trouble and you get him off the floor. We want to get Capela off the floor because Jaren Collins, he can't protect the rim. If we can get Capela off the floor, we should beat the crap out of the Hawks in the paint, period. They cannot guard the paint whatsoever. So if we're going to run that small ball, which is more, now that I'm thinking, which is better, put Randle at the 5, Obi at the 4, that can create a lot of ball movement, a lot of backdoor cuts by Obi, but it predicates on Randle making quick decisions and quick passes if Obi's running the backdoor plays and stuff like that. It's just, we got to play smart, period. Just like that. Quick and smart. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would really like to see RJ step up today.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would really like to see him, just really be aggressive, really attack the rim. If you miss shots, you miss shots, but he's looking more than missing shots, fumbling out of his hand. And it's just, I don't know what's going on with him
Have you seen
either.
his last 10 games numbers?
No,
If you've seen his last 10 game numbers, he belong in the third string bench. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is.
Shoot, you just need to see him on the court and to know that.
Yeah, the eye
exactly
test is kind of backing it up. But this is an opportunity for him to really step in, not just today, but if you that guy, there's room on this team, right? For somebody to kind of step in.
He
And
needs to step up, period.
we need it, man.
Every night is someone different.
Even Knox, if you get some time tonight, there is room for you to
I'm telling you.
ball out. There's room
There's
for
room.
somebody.
I'll say,
and just
I feel like to this day, here, tonight's the night we're going to give you opportunity. Someone just come with something.
Yeah. No doubt.
I will say this, for all the trolls out there that think we should tank and play the young players, this game tonight is going to feature a lot of our young players. Jericho Sims, Grimes, maybe McBride. Knox is still fairly young. Quickley. So here's a chance to see your young players. Let's see what they bring out in the situation where a lot of the vets are out or resting, whatever you want to call it. This is the time for the young players to pop. So,
yeah,
this is their time to do it. This is their time.
See, I feel like the young players that come in when that you got a solid core and you're not really asking them, to do too much. That's just not the case.
Yeah. Let me see. Mark, last 10 games for RJ Barrett. I got the numbers here.
Here we go.
Last 10 games.
It's bad.
10.3 points per game. Shooting 29.6% from the field.
Oh my God. From the field. Shooting 22.9% from the 3-point line. Shooting 69% from the foul line. Yeah, that's his numbers right now.
I ain't going front. He deserved G League minutes, bro.
That's what he's doing right now.
He deserved to go in the G League to just say, I gotta sharpen up my game.
But what do you think it is? You think he's being affected by the chemistry or
inconsistency? It's just always been inconsistency with him.
What I said, what I told you at the beginning of the season, for RJ to be valuable to this team, it's all about consistency with him. That's all it's about, consistency. If he can't reach that level of consistency, we're gonna have a big problem with this team. Because when we drafted him, it was a crucial draft choice to build for the future in some cases of being a cog into the team. If he continues like this, Lordy Lord, Lordy Lord, Sam.
I mean,
but you know what?
Like we said earlier, the entire starting unit is their numbers are down. For the entire season, the entire starting unit.
That's crazy.
Is just not playing well. So it has to be that unit is the reason because they just don't work together.
Do you think there's... Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say also, it may not be a bad idea for RJ to just go back to that catch and shoot guy, from last year. Just go back to basics, go back to what works, get your rhythm back, and then try all of this other stuff.
You gotta imagine there's got to be some animosity between the second team and the first team, because if they see all the players that are making big money in the first lineup and they're not doing nothing, and then these guys that are young guys and role players that have been on other teams coming in and balling out, you got to think in some minds and just your mindset that, is that right? I mean, we're a team, why is it 50% of the team gives a whatever, and the other team's other 50%, I don't know what's going on with them.
I'm gonna say something about that. It's not more of what the young guys think of the veterans, it's the outside people. So if the starters continue to play like this, just imagine what the fans are going to do to them, and they're going to hear every bit of it. That's going to make them feel less of an NBA starter. The bench don't have to do nothing just to be the bench. They have to worry about the outside, us fans that talk on panels every night about them. They see this stuff. They get it in their comments. As soon as they have a bad game, Randle, you suck. RJ, you suck. And they get flooded with that. So again, they don't have to worry about the bench. They have to worry about their mental. I want to see if their mental can handle that. That's another thing.
But if one side's picking up the slack and the other's not, I can't not see a situation where they're not upset or not frustrated.
Well, because throughout the game, it's not like it's always only the bench on the floor, only the starters. Like they mix and mingle throughout the game. You know what I mean?
It's not like
as
the
far
bench
as
come
being
in
on the floor. So I don't know if there's any animosity towards the two. I think if there's animosity,
that report did come out.
Well, I think the question came out as were the starting unit jealous over the bench. I think the question came out. I don't know if there was a true report. If there's animosity, I think it's more likely to be within that starting lineup. You know what I mean? But let me get to this phone call real quick. And shout out to 1975 Jam Rock. He said Nate was right. The Knicks didn't want to pay $20 million over 4 years or $20 million a year for 4 years for Lonzo Ball. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from.
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you feeling tonight?
Not bad. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Steph, Mark, Nate.
What's going on, caller?
What's up, man?
So I'm just calling in. Obviously, the bench versus the starting lineup has been a big topic of discussion this season.
Right.
I don't mean to play, armchair psychologist, but sometimes when you see these bench guys go in, like Quickley, when they go in, they're playing like they have something to prove. Like they're going in with just that kind of energy. Like when they touch the floor, they're looking to say something to somebody, maybe it's to themselves, to the fans, coach, whatever. And it kind of makes me suspicious of what you guys were talking about before, where maybe there's a little bit of just issue in the locker room between maybe some of the starting guys and maybe there's just somebody's not gelling, so these bench guys are really actually coming in and trying to sort of stick it to those other guys. I don't know if that means moves have to be made at some point before the trade deadline, but something we'll have to wait and see. I'm willing to wait, but it's looking choppy.
It's looking real choppy. It's looking real choppy because, these next, 10 games or so are just are difficult games for the Knicks. Earlier, I did a little breakdown, and I talked about the Knicks 3-game homestand where they played Orlando, Houston, and whoever else they played. I forgot who it was. Indiana, Lakers. I think it was.
Indiana.
And I was talking about how important that homestand was, and then I focused on the next 5 games. But even after those 5 games, the schedule is just difficult for this team. So right now, we play the Hawks tonight. Then we play Brooklyn. Then we come back home and play Chicago. And then Denver. And then we go to San Antonio.
We can get that one.
Then we play the Pacers again. We play the Raptors again. Both those teams are tough for the Knicks.
Yeah, they're just all tough.
Right. Then we play Milwaukee. Then we play Golden State on December the 14th. Right? I mean, we got a tough stretch coming up over the next.
Let me tell you something.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, over the next 9 games, we have it's a tough stretch of basketball.
Because I remember Obi said something in a article. He said when him and Quickley come off the bench, it's like they look at each other and say it's go time. Like that's how they play. That's how they play. They know that. Listen, when we come on the floor, we changing the temperature, and they change the temperature of the crowd all of the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's what you want from your bench players.
Yeah.
Of course.
So caller, I don't know, man. It's been a choppy go at it, like you said. And I mean, I'm thinking that Leon Rose, World Wide West, Tom Thibodeau, they see this team and they know it's not going to happen. And I'm trusting that they know what the team needs, and they're going to be looking to make something happen before the deadline.
Yeah, I like to think that if there is something going on, obviously we don't know that for sure, but if there is, then they're trying to keep it in-house, keep it professional, let it sort of work out between themselves. But I mean, I feel like it's been enough time to at least see some steps in a certain direction, and it's kind of been the same old. Starters are awful. Bench are the only ones coming in with that energy and that fire, and Tibbs is not making any switches with the lineup. So, I mean, tonight, I don't know how it's going to look. We obviously are going to have to make changes because of all the guys are missing, but I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I don't think this team, as it's composed, is going to be here long term.
Man, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If it looks really good tonight, Emmanuel Quickley plays well, his defense is good, the offense looks good, do you think he stays in that lineup, or does Tibbs just say, I'm going back to Kemba?
I hope so. I mean, with Kemba, we got him for pretty cheap. So, I mean, whether we hold on to him or let him go, I don't think we're going to be losing much. I like Kemba, but he hasn't been that great for us besides a few spurts where he just goes off. I don't know. I think maybe the front office is worried about optics and PR, so they don't want to just make that decision. But I also think they're ready and prepared for, like last season with Alfred, where he was in the lineup for pretty much no reason up until the very end. So I don't think they're going to repeat that, but we'll see what they want to do.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, Tom Thibodeau has control of those lineups, so we'll see. But hey, my man, I appreciate your time. Appreciate the call. We got about 24 minutes until tip off, so I'm gonna start wrapping up so I can get ready to grab me a plate of food and sit down and watch the rest of the game.
The leftovers always taste better than when it's cooked the first time. I tell you that.
Hey, I appreciate your time, man.
Of course, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Fingers crossed this game.
All right. I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting game tonight. Really interesting game, and I'm afraid that this schedule, if there are things going on internally, this is the type of schedule that can make them turn, from an internal issue to a public issue. Things start coming out, start leaking out here and there. So
December 15th, right around the corner. So, something needs to change.
Mark, what's your prediction for tonight?
All right, face guard Trae Young as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna go, I would go small to eliminate Capela as much as possible, to take him off the floor, because when he gets going, he becomes a rim protector, and Randle don't want to have no parts of that. He has to attack quick, make quicker decisions. Again, the starting lineup has to play with energy. If we don't get energy, then we're gonna lose. Simple as that, bro. Simple as that. Every night they'll play with the energy first quarter, and then the rest of the game, we're searching, we're looking. It's just, we gotta play. When we get hit, we hit them back. Period. And energy's gonna do that. Don't want to see. I gotta hear communication on the floor, man. The star line gotta communicate with each other for us to be a better team. If they don't do that, man, it's just gonna be another night of what you witnessed last night. And stop the pick and roll. Like, when they do the pick and roll, we have to blast them. Blast Trae Young in moments of that. We can't let them get comfortable in the pick and roll. Those are my keys.
Okay. Your prediction?
Wow.
My prediction tonight? My prediction. I want to say we get this win, But I'm salty. I'm sour. We're going to lose tonight because the Hawks are playing hot. So, the Hawks win. We're playing at their arena.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and they got our number. So you got to get
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I don't mean to cut you off, Mark, but I'm seeing in the chat.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to be so heated if this is the truth.
No.
Told you.
No, I know it.
He's going to say that he likes Quickley off the bench.
Exactly. He doesn't want to mess with that chemistry.
Rose is out
no
too.
sense.
So I don't
Yo,
know.
what?
It just doesn't make sense. This is what I was talking about, Mark, earlier.
Yo, my instincts are so good because I know he was going to put Burks at the starter lineup.
Yeah. But defensively, Burks has been
He's been excellent. He's been
good.
Sim,
I just think he has a hard. I just think he will. It's going to be hard guarding. Who guards Trae Young then?
I think it's going to be
RJ.
Yeah, I'm going to give Burks. I'm going to give Burks this because I've seen him pressure some guards, and he's done a great job. I really haven't had a problem with Burks lately.
I think they'll put RJ's length out there, but you get in foul trouble.
RJ on Trae Young?
No.
No way.
They're going to put Trae Young on
RJ.
with
Tibbs, who knows? I mean, honestly, this just tells me exactly what I already know about Tibbs. He's a man stuck in his ways. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. If this continues to happen and we continue to lose, don't be surprised if there might be a change.
Listen, you can't give him a messed up team. The front office, is going.
Go ahead, Steph.
The front office have to take some, responsibility for this.
Sure, but they're going to look to the coach. They're going to go to the coach first. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I don't think there's no coach that could have done what Tom Thibodeau did for what he's doing right now. Period.
Right.
Period. So again, we have to still. You can give him his 4 years. I think again because I feel like we're still in rebuilding mode. So we have 4 years of him. So we're going to have to deal with it. But I said it. I was 50-50 on it. But in the back of my dome piece, I knew he was going to stop Burks.
That's the reason why I kept bringing it up.
I don't think it's that bad, though. He's going to play good defense. And Randle is going to do a lot of handling.
It'll probably be limited minutes. They'll probably put Quickley a lot more.
I just feel like Quickley matches up with Trae Young better than Burks defensively.
He's quicker.
Now, maybe Tibbs wants to create the mismatch. Because Trae Young now has to guard somebody on the other side of the floor. Right?
Yep.
So who's he guard? Who does Trae Young guard?
What I said anywhere, I always say this. Anywhere Trae Young is on tonight, you call a pick and roll on it. Do what James Harden do every time. Give me the weakest link until it don't work.
Right.
Because that's how you cause havoc. Because LeBron used to do it to Steph Curry. They try to get Steph Curry all the time until they finally figure it out to blast him.
Not only that, but when you got a smaller guy, what's the best way to stop him? Put a bigger guy on him.
Yeah, and physical.
He just has some foot speed that can hold his own against him and make it difficult for him, or at least rough him up a little bit.
And Trae Young ain't getting those calls that he got from last year. All these players' free throw numbers are down, so he can't try none of that. Bump into players, and
So maybe that's what Tom Thibodeau was thinking. Like maybe he's just figuring nobody's gonna stop Trae Young anyway. So let's try to create a mismatch on the other side.
Quickley will finish the game. Burks will not.
They probably both will finish the game.
Right. We don't have Rose. We don't have Kemba.
They'll probably both finish. But maybe that's what Tom Thibodeau was thinking. We're not going to stop him anyway, so let's create a mismatch on the other side of the floor.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm not even mad because I knew in the back of my head he would do something like
threes
that.
are falling.
It is what it is. We just got to go out there and play with energy and try to get this dub.
See what it looks like. Nate, prediction for tonight?
Man, just show up with pride. Respect that uniform. I'm serious. I mean, y'all are laughing. I'm being serious, man. This is a pride thing for me. Show that you want to be here. Show that you want to be a representative of this team. I mean, like literally, you got your butts handed to you at home by the Suns, which Suns are a great team. There's no doubt about that. But come up with some pride, man. I mean, you've been chirping the whole time. You can't wait to play Atlanta. Let's play Atlanta. next time it'll be a different situation. All right, show up. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right. Steph?
You know what? Sometimes when a team is desperate, like the Knicks are, and they're down a few players, sometimes they come up fighting, and sometimes, it's a close game. Sometimes they win.
Right.
The way it looks like Atlanta is the favorite for sure. I think they'll win, but I think it's going to be like less than 5 points. I think it's going to be a close game.
Okay.
Tim, we was plus 3.5 yesterday for the win against Phoenix because they thought that Phoenix was going to give up a game like to a team like the Knicks because they've been on the street. So listen, man.
Well,
play with pride.
I mean, I think it's I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know. I'm not picking the Knicks to win tonight, but I do think it's going to be a close game. I think the Knicks are going to play tough. And I'm hoping. I was hoping last night. I didn't think the Knicks would beat Phoenix last night, but I was hoping it was going to be a tight game, a close game, and it was going to. It was going to propel them forward. That's what I was hoping. That they seen. Hey, you know what? We didn't win, but we played with the best of them, tooth and nail. With the best of them, I think maybe the opposite might have happened. After last night, we got beat bad. They dominated the game in almost all facets. And I'm hoping that this doesn't carry over into tonight.
And usually the team, when they get their butts handed to them, they usually come out the next game and play well.
Yeah.
So
for real.
let's continue that trend.
If I don't see that tonight in no type of urgency, because we are in urgency mode, because at the end of the day, man, again, them 10 next games, again, these teams are formidable. Like, they're not an out. They're not an out. So we're not a lucky team to be saying we can go in this house and beat this. No. We are iffy about this team right now. And I want to have confidence, but Jesus, it's hard. It's hard, man. I'm not betting no money on this team.
I just hope it doesn't boil over, doesn't roll over. That's the one thing I hate about back-to-backs, right? If you're playing bad one night, you may not have had a chance to rest on it and recalibrate yourself before you got to hit the floor again. You know what I mean? So that scares me a little bit about tonight's game.
Because we can't be winning and losing. What are you building?
Mark, I'll take that over losing.
Yeah, me too.
That's the way we playing.
You're right, because you want to go. But then again, that's comfortability. It's like, I'm going to win tonight, but I'm going to go in and get my butt whipped the next night. And continue
expectation. Last year we would have took being 500, and now we're like pissed off because we're 500.
Right.
I mean, that's true. That's true. Last year at this time, we would have been happy. What'd you say, Mark?
We need a 3-game winning streak. I'm not asking for 5 or 6.
No, I get it. I hear it. But last year at this time, we would have been head over heels. Like, man, we 500.
I mean,
With that squad, hell yeah.
Last year was everything that we wanted for Christmas. I tell you that.
Yeah, this year is like we only 500. Like, what's going on?
Game over.
One game over. Yeah. But,
man, it's so bad. I'm acting for Ish Smith. How pathetic is that? Come on, man.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. 7:17. The Knicks playing about 13 minutes. So, go do what you got to do to get ready for the game. Food. Get your food, get your beer, get your wine, get your TV ready, everything. You know what I mean? Go get yourself ready. I thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. This has been the Game Day pregame show. So, you still got time to get your bets in if you want to get them in.
Don't bet on the next
Don't make no bets tonight, y'all.
Don't bet on this game. We're giving you the advice now. Don't bet on this game.
Listen, man, just pray. Get your food. Just pray that we can get an L.
There are plenty of the games tonight to bet on.
Plenty of other games. So you can go to the game day. You can go to the game day and go check it out and see what else is out there that you want to bet on. This might not be the one you want to bet on tonight.
OKC ain't even here tonight, so no. Let's not bet.
We out of here. Appreciate you guys' time. We out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you at the post-game show.
Post-game.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. Tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sob like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Nick.